Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and this time I will be reviewing the Cyberzoic Allosaurus. Now, this is a figure I was anticipating for a while now, since this is my first figure from the Cyberzoic line. So, we're going to make a review on it. I was originally planning on getting the green version from the main line, but I couldn't find that one, so I got the Cyberzoic version. This Allosaurus is the Gemmensini, not the Allosaurus fragilis we're more used to, so keep that in mind. The Allosaurus fragilis, of course, would be the green Allosaurus from the mainline Beasts of the Mesozoic figures. A figure I personally really like. I know a lot of people prefer the Cyberzoic one because it's more accurate, or more realistic at least, but I like the green one's charms too. But of course, we're here to talk about the Cyberzoic Allosaurus, not the Beasts of the Mesozoic Allosaurus. I got mine off the official Created Beast website, and it costed me at least $130. I really hope this figure was worth it. So without further ado, let's review the figure itself. First, I want to start off with the box this time. I think it's really nice and stylized in like a cybertech kind of stuff going on. On the back of the box, you can see the figure itself. And it also shows the accessories, which are not included with the figure, which I don't really think I care about these. I mostly care about the figure itself, not really the tech accessories. I don't think I'll be getting those. Also, I noticed the Allosaurus on the front, the art, it kind of reminds me of the Walking with Dinosaurs version for some reason. Maybe it's the head shape. Yeah, I think it's definitely the head shape. Alright, so I guess we're done with the box, and now let's get into the figure itself, shall we? Now, this should be everything your Cyberzoic Allosaurus comes with. You got two stands for some reason, but that might come in handy in case you have another figure or if you lose one of them. Got the extra feet, which I don't personally use, but if you want some different poses with the feet, you could probably use some of these. The extra pieces for the stand, you got the tail and the clip for the stand. As for the card art, this is probably the weakest out of their collector's cards that I've seen. If I were to compare this to some of the other collector's cards, like this Wendy Ceratops, it looks exactly like the figure that it came with. Meanwhile, the Cyberzoic Allosaurus card doesn't resemble the Cyberzoic Allosaurus figure in the slightest. If anything, it looks more like the Walking with Dinosaurs Allosaurus. Now, here is the figure fully assembled. Something I learned from my previous videos is that I should start being a little bit more critical when reviewing something. For example, my last review, the Beasts of the Mesozoic Allosaurus, I still think it's a solid figure, but I wish I want to point out more criticisms of it. One thing I neglected to point out for some reason is the shape of the neck. It looks kind of weird. It was sculpted in a way that just makes it facing a little bit too straight. And because of that, the neck ends up being built like a sausage. It almost reminds me of the Lillian Sternis design from that one dinosaur documentary I reviewed a while back. And I thought that looked awful. Both of the Dilophosaurus figures also suffer from this weird neck position. There's probably a reasonable justification for why the necks are sculpted like this, but it's something I wish I would have pointed out regardless. Of course, it does come with a figure stand. All you gotta do is just slide this like that, and it should clip in there, just like that. And there's also the stem piece, which all you gotta do is just slide it in there like that, and you're able to position it however you feel like. Then we have this piece, sometimes people call it the cradle, and this should allow your figure to stand. However, you can actually get the figure to stand on its own. It's not easy, but you can get it to work. Now, this is what it should look like on this stand. It stands pretty well. There's also these pegs right here, and you can see there's a hole right there that you can also put right there, which should allow you to get extra balance if I position it back under here. There we go. Another thing that you could do is use both of them at the same time. Sorry about that. And you would get something like this. And this should allow you to have some better balance on the figure stand so it doesn't fall over as easily. As for the paintwork and the sculpting, I like what I'm seeing so far. I think it has a really nice color scheme. It looks pretty natural, and this is a pretty good representation of Allosaurus jamanzini. Now, when it comes to paint choices for Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, they usually have a lot of bright colors. This is because they're mostly based off of real animals such as highly colorful birds and reptiles. Sometimes they can be quite tame, other times they're a bit more out there. But to be honest, that's kind of what makes Beasts of the Mesozoic so unique, is that they really stand out from other dinosaur toys with their bright colors. Sure, they can go a little bit overboard at times, but they're still pretty good representations of the dinosaurs they're based off of, and they still look great too. These shades of brown may look a bit bland in comparison to the rest, but this is probably what the real animal would have more likely looked like. And honestly, I think it works. It's a unique take on the Beasts of the Mesozoic figures. Instead of being so brightly colored, we have a more naturalistic looking theropod. And I think it looks really good because of it. I personally like the mainline Allosaurus fragilis figure. I couldn't find that one, so I got this one instead. I like the color scheme on the fragilis version though, but this is pretty good on its own. I actually really do like this. You mostly get shades of brown, black, and a little bit of peach. On the head, you get a nice shade of red on the crest right here, and a little bit on the neck too, which looks great. We're to look inside the mouth. You also got some teeth there. I'm not sure I can get that on the camera. There's a little bit of they look really, really glossy in there. It really makes it look like a mouth. I do think the pink that they chose, like on the camera, it's coming out a little bit as an orange, but it is more pink than orange. Maybe they could have used like a different shade of pink, but I think it looks good. I'm not sure if you can see this, but the claws have like a metallic black paint on them, which is really nice. Also get some dry brushing, which allows the details to really pop. You can see all the little scales right there. You can see it throughout the body. Like, not sure. Maybe there could have been a little bit more dry brushing around the hand area, but I don't really think it matters. Like, you get some wrinkles in the neck right there. You can see the eyeball right there. It's yellow. Like, the eyeballs on Beasts of the Mesozoic figures aren't like, they're mostly alright. This one looks alright too. It looks pretty good. Like, it's not like hyper realistic. I don't really think it needs to be. You also got some bumps on the neck too. I didn't notice that before. Pretty cool. Yeah, I might just notice that there's a little bit of a paint scratch right there. Not sure if you can see it. Yeah. My copy has a little bit of a paint scratch right there. Man, that kind of sucks. Over here, there's also like a bit of a noticeable seam line though. I actually really am not a fan of that though. They could have hide that a bit better maybe. It's also the same gloss paint on the toenails as well. Well, what I noticed is that they gave it the foot scales. For those of you who don't know, foot scales are mostly found on birds because it's believed that they used to be feathers that evolved into scale-like scutes. This might be a bit of an issue on the Allosaurus because How deep feathers go in the dinosaur family tree seems to be something that's still being discussed. I could be wrong, but I feel like it would have been safer to not put the foot scales on the Allosaurus. Speaking of the feet, we also have the feet accessories. Of course, we get this stepping foot, and we have the lifting foot. The feet on this Allosaurus seem to be much easier to take off than my other figures, which is a blessing because sometimes the joints can be really stuck in there and you could easily break your figure by taking the feet out. So I'm happy I don't have those issues here. The feet are labeled so you know which side they are. This should be right foot 1. So this is the right foot. This one is labeled R1 and that one is labeled R2. This foot should be labeled L1 and this foot should be labeled L2, as you can see right here. For some reason, the ones with bent toes aren't labeled. That's kind of frustrating. I mean, I have no idea why these ones aren't labeled. That would be especially useful because you could easily mix these up too. It has happened to me a few times when recording, so I have no idea why these couldn't be labeled. And this is what it should look like on the figure. I personally don't really use these, but if you want to use them, you can. You can get some pretty good poses with them. As for the articulation, the jaw can move down that far, and we also got tongue articulation. Kind of find it funny how tiny his tongue is for some reason. There might be a scientific reason why they made it like this, but we also got some head articulation. You could move this right here. This right here is a floating piece, so it's meant to hide like the joints inside. You can get some poses there. You can move it side to side. What I notice is on my copy, it kind of falls apart easily. Like, it's like I have an SH Monster Arts on my hands right now. It does pop back in, but this might be an issue with my copy though, so keep that in mind. Now, if I were to, you can move, there's this piece right here, which you can use it to move this far and that far right there. This articulation allows you to move that far, this far, and as for ups and downs, you can move it. Like, you can't move it that high though, but because, or at least with my copy, I can't do that. You can get it up a little bit. Like, this doesn't really move up or down, so like, you can move it down like this. A little bit of a close-up. This piece is what allows you to move down and up. It doesn't go really up that high. That's pretty much, it stays like that. This is what you would use to go, but it's better at going down. You also get to do a full 360. This is attached to like a ball joint right here, which allows you to go up and down like that. You can also bend the elbows, and you can move the hands as well like this. You got a pretty solid, a pretty decent torso joint. You can move down pretty far, I guess. You can move it side to side pretty well. That's actually really good right there. That's actually some pretty great articulation in the torso. Perhaps like this is a rubber material, which allows it to, like a rubber-like material, which allows it to move pretty far. The legs are able to do a spread. This kind of reminds me of the Mattel figures I used to do videos on. They're able to spread the legs pretty well. The knees can bend, of course, but you also get a knee swivel. You can also bend this joint right here, which can also do a swivel as well. And the feet right here are kind of like, there's kind of like a ball right there, which allows you to twist it, to twist the feet in different angles. So you can move the feet, of course. Like this piece right here should allow you to get a bit of a pivot like that. That's actually pretty good. You can get a pivot. And I believe maybe you can also do you can do a full 360 with the legs, I believe. Can I get this to go through there? Ooh. Yeah, you can do a full 360 on the legs, but it's not easy to. Thankfully, there doesn't seem to be any scratches, which is a good thing. As for the tail, you can move it like this. Wag his tail. You got a second joint right here. And the final segment is a bendy wire. So you can get some pretty decent bends over here. You can do some pretty crazy stuff with this. Oh, and that does happen. It's another loose joint right there. This could simply just be my copy though, so probably not everyone's copy is going to be like this, as far as I know. So the articulation overall is pretty solid. It does pretty much anything you would want an Allosaurus to do, basically. Perhaps I would enjoy it a little bit more if my copy wasn't built like an SH Monster Arts, but I don't really have anything against SH Monster Arts, mostly because I don't own one, but it does fall apart pretty easily in the neck, mostly. It is easy to put back on, but perhaps the articulation could be a bit better if my copy didn't fall off so easily. So for my final verdict, I think it's a pretty good figure for what you're getting. It has some pretty good painting and sculpting, has some pretty decent articulation. I say this is a worthy addition to my collection. I would rate this figure at least a 9 out of 10. I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 mostly because of the joint issues I've been having. But a 9 out of 10 is pretty solid for what you're getting. If you want to get your own, I got mine off of the official Creative Beast website, and no, I am not sponsored. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more videos like this, like and follow for more, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video.